Inmates and Gang Food documentary. Hunger, Power, and the Hidden Kitchens. This story is a dramatized adaptation inspired by real events. Some names, places, and details have been changed for privacy. Inside the gray walls of the world's most notorious prisons, the clatter of trays, the hiss of boiling water, and the smell of reheated meat mark more than mealtime. They are the rhythms of survival, a pulse that beats through the corridors of confinement. From Los Angeles County Jail in California to Rikers Island in New York, from Puente Grande in Mexico to Pollsmoor in South Africa, food is currency, hierarchy, and control, all in one. Inmates describe a world where the government-issued meal is often insufficient, both in quantity and quality. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons' 2020 audit, some maximum security facilities reported that roughly 35% of meals served failed to meet basic nutritional standards. In Los Angeles County Jail, a 2018 internal inspection found that trays of chicken, beans, and rice were consistently underweight, often lacking protein, vegetables, or even condiments. By the time meals reached the lowest tiers, hunger had already sharpened tensions. It was in this gap that the underground economy began to flourish. The concept is simple: when the system fails to feed, someone else steps in. And inside these prisons, someone often means a gang. Food, even the most basic, transforms from sustenance into leverage. Ramen packets, coffee sachets, powdered milk, peanut butter, and cans of tuna become commodities, small, portable, and highly tradable. A single instant coffee packet could secure a contraband cigarette, a small phone, or even favor from a cell block leader. In Cook County Jail, investigative journalists with the Chicago Tribune, 2018, documented how the Black Guerrilla Family and the Latin Kings maintained food runs, organized exchanges where commissary items, often pilfered or traded, moved from cell to cell under tight surveillance. According to court filings from 2017, these runs were sometimes orchestrated by kitchen workers who used their positions to bypass official oversight. A prison guard testified anonymously that the inmates know exactly which tray has what. One tray goes down, and the entire hierarchy shifts. The strategy is clear. Gangs use food for recruitment, punishment, and loyalty enforcement. Leaders control kitchen jobs not only to steal or redirect supplies but also to signal power. A new inmate, unaligned and hungry, might be forced to beg for scraps or trade small favors to survive. Those who comply quickly learn the rules: eat what you're allowed, respect the chain, and pay tribute if required. Those who resist face marginalization, sometimes starvation. The Federal Bureau of Prisons' 2020 report on Rikers Island confirmed that kitchen access correlated directly with influence. Inmates who worked in food preparation could redirect trays, prioritize their own associates, and even smuggle items out in disguised containers. One unverified but consistently reported tactic involved hiding contraband under cans of refried beans or inside wrapped sandwich trays. "The food is the network," said a former Rikers detainee, speaking on condition of anonymity. "If you control it, you control the block. If you don't, you eat last, or you don't eat at all." Across international borders, the stakes remain similar, though the methods differ. In Mexico's Puente Grande prison, Human Rights Watch observed in 2021 that kitchen operations were effectively under gang control. Investigators noted that leaders divided rations according to loyalty and rank. Lower-tier inmates often cooked over makeshift stoves assembled from broken pipes and stolen wires. Meals were scarce, rationed, and weaponized. Someone's misbehavior could result in an empty tray. The Amnesty International Latin America report, 2021, documented that certain gangs would deliberately delay or withhold food as a form of punishment or coercion. Hunger became a mechanism for social engineering, teaching inmates who belonged and who did not. In Brazilian prisons, conditions are no less severe. Facilities in Sao Paulo and Manaus have long struggled with overcrowding and underfunded kitchens. According to a 2019 BBC Africa investigative feature, gangs in Brazil routinely commandeer entire kitchen operations. Inmates cook with stolen rations and bribes, transforming stolen commissary items into feasts that solidify alliances. The system is decentralized and highly transactional. Even meals labeled for discipline, Nutriloaf-style breads or minimally seasoned rice, are carefully manipulated by gangs to reward loyalty. A ration misdirected can spark an uprising or reinforce dominance. The pattern repeats in South Africa's Pollsmoor prison. Here, gangs known as the Numbers, named for their secretive societies, run Stockville Meal Group. A Stockville is traditionally a community savings or cooperative society, but inside the prison, it becomes a culinary hierarchy. Stolen rations, bribes, and contraband ingredients are pooled together. Meals are not just nourishment, they are ceremonies, initiation rituals, and demonstrations of power. According to BBC Africa, 2019, new initiates are often required to cook and serve for established members, forging dependency and signaling allegiance. Eating, in this sense, becomes a ritual of compliance. The American system, despite being industrialized and regulated, is not immune. Inmates from the Aryan Brotherhood, Mexican Mafia, and Black Guerrilla Family have been documented using kitchen jobs to facilitate smuggling operations. Court filings in Pelican Bay State Prison, 2021, reveal that members used commissary accounts and kitchen access to pay bribes to corrupt guards, trade illicit items, and maintain order on the block. The economics are straightforward. Control the food, control labor, control loyalty. Even the smallest commodity, a packet of instant noodles or a slice of bread, can carry hundreds of dollars worth of bargaining power in the black market of the prison. The consequences are profound. When food becomes a tool of power, inequality follows. Inmates report being coerced into labor or participation in gang activities in exchange for a meal. Isolation, exclusion, and deliberate starvation are all methods used to maintain order or fear. Some facilities have attempted reforms, installing video monitoring in kitchens, limiting inmate access to certain areas, and conducting random audits. Yet investigations consistently reveal that the underground system adapts, finding new avenues to assert control. Journalists and investigators emphasize the human cost. Hunger in prison is more than physical, it erodes trust, heightens conflict, and reshapes social hierarchies. An inmate who skips a meal today may owe a debt tomorrow. A missing ration can alter alliances. According to a Human Rights Watch report, 2022, many inmates internalize these hierarchies, navigating complex rules that govern not just survival, but the currency of influence itself. The psychological dimensions are as significant as the economic ones. Inmates describe anxiety over meal times, strategizing not just how to eat, but whom to appease. A tray of stew is analyzed for what it represents: status, proximity to leaders, or favor. When you're hungry, you think differently, one former Rikers inmate told reporters. You notice who eats first. You notice who controls the kitchen. You learn who has power without anyone saying a word. Even simple routines, standing in line for a meal, carrying a tray across a hallway, or delivering food to a neighboring cell, become exercises in negotiation, obedience, and observation. Guards are often aware, sometimes complicit, sometimes powerless. According to court testimony from a 2017 Pelican Bay case, some officers accepted small bribes in exchange for turning a blind eye, while others actively prevented escalation. The dynamic is fluid. Alliances shift with a tray, and hunger is always the wild card. Outside observers often fail to grasp the sophistication of this hidden economy. To the public, prison meals are mundane, trays of slop served under fluorescent lights. But for those inside, every bite, every ration, every packet carries significance. Meals are instruments of hierarchy, mechanisms for smuggling, and indicators of who belongs. They are a mirror of the social fabric within the prison walls, reflecting the power structures that govern human behavior in constrained and often violent environments. The economics of hunger extend beyond the individual. Inmates who manage kitchen operations, collect rations, and redistribute supplies generate influence that reaches entire cell blocks. They set prices, determine quantities, and dictate who receives what. According to reports from Cook County Jail and Rikers Island investigations, these systems operate like microcosmic black market. Every packet, every can, every meal carries a value that surpasses the cost of production. It is both commodity and weapon. Food, ultimately, is power. It decides who lives comfortably, who survives barely, and who falls victim to the social currents of the underground. It is the axis around which the hidden economy of prison life revolves. Hunger, when wielded strategically, enforces obedience, fosters loyalty, and maintains an invisible order that neither guards nor administrators fully control. From the makeshift stoves of Puente Grande to the polished commissaries of Pelican Bay, from the communal feasts of Pollsmoor to the orchestrated food runs of Rikers Island, the story is consistent. Where official meals fail, gangs rise. What begins as sustenance becomes currency, coercion, and ceremony. It is survival, hierarchy, and enterprise, each bite calculated, each ration weighted with consequence. In the next chapter, the camera follows the inner workings of these hidden kitchens. Leaked surveillance footage, inmate interviews, and investigative reports reveal the daily operations of food-based control, from the smuggling of basic items to the orchestration of entire dining hierarchies. Here, in the shadows of supervision, the stakes are clear. A tray can be more valuable than gold, and hunger can be more dangerous than violence. Kitchens of control, smuggling, strategy, and survival. The clanging of metal carts echoes through the hallways of Rikers Island, a sound that seems ordinary to an outsider but carries layers of meaning for those inside. Each cart, loaded with trays of institutional meals, represents a microcosm of the prison economy, a system where hunger, loyalty, and influence intersect in ways the public rarely sees. According to Federal Bureau of Prisons reports, 2020, these carts move not just nourishment but networks of power, as select inmates manipulate the distribution of food to reinforce hierarchies and extract favors. In maximum security sections, kitchen positions are coveted more than exercise yard access. Inmates who hold these jobs gain visibility and leverage. One former Pelican Bay kitchen worker, identified as Miguel R., in court filings 2021, described how a single packet of powdered milk could be traded multiple times before reaching its intended recipient. You learn who to trust, Miguel explained. If you make a mistake, the wrong person gets the goods, and you'll be paying off that error for weeks. The mechanics of control are meticulous. Kitchens are divided into workstations: prep, cooking, cleaning, and storage. Each role carries unique advantages. Prep workers often skim ingredients or stash extras. Cooking staff manage portions and seasoning, subtly signaling favoritism. Storage managers control access to surplus or contraband items. This division of labor, documented in Human Rights Watch inspections, 2022, allows gangs to maintain operational secrecy while distributing power among multiple members. Even when prison staff monitors the kitchen, the inmates' knowledge of timing, inventory, and hierarchy enables them to orchestrate exchanges without detection. Smuggling within these kitchens is an art. Commissary items, cheese slices, tuna cans, ramen noodles, coffee packets, become tools for bartering and bribery. Court testimony from a Cook County Jail federal investigation, 2017, revealed that contraband phones and drugs often traveled hidden beneath trays or tucked inside packaged food. In some cases, Items were hollowed out or sealed within containers meant for beans or powdered milk. Guards sometimes noticed irregularities, but systemic understaffing and understudied surveillance allowed the flow to continue. For inmates, controlling access to this pipeline meant controlling influence across multiple cell blocks. Hierarchy extends beyond kitchens. Those who wield food as currency establish authority in adjacent areas, common rooms, recreation yards, and even disciplinary units. Leaders dictate meal times, ration sizes, and trading rules. A single misstep, such as eating out of turn or taking without authorization, can have consequences ranging from social ostracization to deliberate deprivation. The stakes are amplified in overcrowded facilities, where every tray and commissary item becomes scarce, intensifying competition. The U.S. prison landscape is mirrored internationally, though each country develops its own system. In Puente Grande Prison, Mexico, gangs have complete operational control over food preparation and distribution. Investigators from Amnesty International Latin America, 2021, observed that kitchen gangs used stolen or misappropriated rations to reward loyalists and punish dissenters. Meals were rationed by rank. Leaders consumed first, mid-tier members next, and lower-ranking or unaligned inmates were left with scraps or nothing at all. Hunger became an instrument for compliance and a subtle form of coercion that structured social behavior. Brazilian facilities, particularly in São Paulo, demonstrate a similar model under extreme conditions. According to the BBC Africa Report, 2019, inmates cook over improvised stoves and organize collective meals to establish alliances. Commodities like beans, rice, and meat are hoarded and redistributed strategically. These communal feasts often double as rituals for gang induction, teaching newcomers the unwritten laws of conduct and loyalty. Food, in this context, is more than sustenance, it is a tool for social engineering. Pollsmoor Prison in South Africa illustrates the psychological dimension of this control. Gangs known as the Numbers organize Stockville meal groups, pooling rations and bribes to create elaborate communal meals. A leaked internal report from 2018 noted that the preparation and serving of food in these groups reinforced hierarchy, loyalty, and obedience. Initiates were often required to cook, serve, and clean before partaking in the meal. These exercises cemented dependency on the gang and normalized the use of sustenance as a mechanism of control. Inside the kitchen, strategies are highly codified. Inmates document which items move fastest, which individuals hold leverage, and which shifts provide the greatest opportunities for influence. Surveillance reports from Rikers Island in 2020 confirmed that certain inmates maintained ledgers in their minds, tracking trades, debts, and favors. A packet of ramen noodles might secure a contraband item, a minor act of protection, or an ally in a rival bloc. Each transaction reinforces the power of those who control the supply chain. The economic logic is stark. One commissary item can circulate multiple times, acquiring increasing value as it passes from cell to cell. Inmates describe this circulation with precision. A packet of instant coffee might first be given to a mid-tier member, who trades it for a snack. That snack is then exchanged for a small phone battery. Eventually, the original coffee packet may return to the kitchen, now representing influence far beyond its intrinsic worth. Such movements create an ecosystem where scarcity and need dictate social dynamics, and the kitchen becomes a microcosm of commerce, negotiation, and enforcement. The psychological implications are equally significant. Hunger and control intersect in ways that reshape behavior. Inmates experience anxiety, vigilance, and hyper-awareness during meal distribution. Even slight delays or perceived inequities can spark tension or conflict. According to interviews with former Rikers inmates, individuals monitor not just the arrival of trays, but who receives them first, who handles them, and how portions are distributed. A meal is never just food, it is a statement, a ledger, a map of power. Strategic manipulation extends to punishment. Denying or delaying a meal is a subtle yet potent tool. Inmates who challenge authority or refuse to comply with gang rules may find themselves last in line or entirely skip. Reports from Pelican Bay audits, 2021, note that gang leaders use rationing as leverage to enforce loyalty, extract labor, or maintain internal order. Even seasoned correctional officers acknowledge the challenge. Controlling overt violence is one thing, managing the invisible economy of food is another. Hunger shapes compliance far more efficiently than brute force. The covert nature of these systems makes oversight difficult. Guards can patrol kitchens, inspect trays, and monitor inventory, but the inmates' intimate knowledge of timing, access points, and social networks allows them to exploit gaps. Court filings from Cook County Jail, 2017, confirm that routine inspections frequently failed to detect discrepancies. Inmates develop sophisticated methods, repackaging items, concealing goods within standard trays, or conducting exchanges at off hours. Surveillance cameras might capture movement, but understanding the significance of each transaction required insight into the unspoken rules that govern block dynamics. Across borders, the phenomenon persists. Whether in Los Angeles, New York, Mexico, Brazil, or South Africa, control of food functions as a stabilizing and destabilizing force simultaneously. It provides leaders with leverage, enforces compliance, rewards loyalty, and perpetuates social hierarchies. The stakes are not merely caloric, they are strategic. Every meal, every ration, every exchange carries meaning, shaping the behavior of individuals and the structure of entire blocks. The consequences extend beyond the walls. Inmates who develop influence through kitchen control often translate this experience into power once released, maintaining networks, connections, or smuggling routes. Federal investigations, including reports by the Marshall Project, 2021, indicate that commissary-based economies have broader implications for contraband flow and gang influence on the street. Understanding how food governs behavior behind bars provides insight into both correctional management challenges and post-release social dynamics. In this ecosystem, power is fluid. Today's kitchen worker can be tomorrow's block leader. Today's ration meal can be tomorrow's currency for negotiation. Survival is intertwined with strategy, and strategy is inseparable from hunger. The simplest act, preparing or distributing a meal, becomes a high-stakes operation with social, psychological, and economic consequences. As cameras trace the journey of a single tray, from kitchen prep to final consumption, the patterns of control become visible. Every hand that touches it, every decision about allocation, and every act of concealment contributes to an intricate web of influence. Inmates learn to read not only the food but the intentions behind it. Understanding the hierarchy, respecting unspoken rules, and negotiating the invisible economy become essential survival skills. Hunger as enforcement, conflict, control, and survival. In the silent corridors of Pelican Bay, the faint metallic clatter of trays signals more than mealtime, it signals opportunity, tension, and power. The hidden economy of food, meticulously chronicled in Federal Bureau of Prisons reports, 2020, and corroborated by investigative journalists, operates as both glue and weapon within prison life. Control over what is eaten, who eats first, and who receives scraps defines authority. When food becomes leverage, the stakes are higher than ever. Conflict is inevitable. Inmates vie for control of kitchen access, commissary privileges, and ration distribution. According to court filings from Cook County Jail, 2017, disputes over who controls the delivery of meals have escalated to fights, assaults, and, in rare cases, orchestrated block-wide lockdown. Violence is not random. It is strategic, carefully timed, and often preventative. Leaders understand that control over food is more powerful than raw aggression. A well-timed ration, delayed or withheld, can quell dissent or reinforce loyalty without ever drawing official attention. At Rikers Island, surveillance footage reviewed by federal investigators revealed a recurring pattern. New inmates, unfamiliar with block dynamics, were often tested during meal distribution. Those who questioned authority, refused instructions, or attempted to bypass chain-of-command restrictions were made to wait longer, sometimes receiving reduced portions. It's subtle but effective, a former Rikers inmate told the Marshall Project, 2021. They don't have to hit you. They let hunger do the work. These power plays extend to commissary smuggling. Inmates with kitchen access often act as intermediaries, redirecting high-value items such as coffee, peanut butter, or instant noodles to trusted gang members. Investigators from Amnesty International Latin America, 2021, documented similar patterns in Mexico, where Puente Grande inmates orchestrated complex networks to move rations in exchange for contraband phones, tobacco, or minor favors. The system rewards those who understand nuance and punishes the inexperienced or disloyal with exclusion from meals or social ostracism. The consequences of mismanagement can be severe. A missing ration, a misallocated tray, or a slight error in the informal ledger of exchanges can escalate into confrontation. In Brazil, Human Rights Watch observed that disagreements over communal meals sometimes led to entire kitchens being locked down, with rival groups isolated to prevent escalation. Even within these constraints, gang leaders found ways to enforce order, using scarcity as a regulatory tool. Hunger became both sword and shield, ensuring obedience and minimizing overt violence while maintaining social hierarchy. In South Africa's Pollsmoor prison, Stockville meal groups illustrate the ritualization of enforcement through food. Each feast is meticulously structured, portions measured according to rank, responsibilities assigned to new initiates, and deviations from protocol met with immediate social consequences. According to BBC Africa, 2019, refusal to participate in the preparation or distribution of a communal meal could result in exclusion from the feast, diminished status, or coerced service for months. The act of eating, or being denied the right to eat, becomes a form of social regulation, reinforcing loyalty and obedience to the gang structure. Food also facilitates covert negotiations. Inmates exchange meals for protection, favors, or smuggled items. Court records from Pelican Bay, 2021, detail instances where kitchen workers used rationed items as bargaining chips, diffusing potential violence or cementing alliances across rival factions. A single packet of ramen could secure a truce between warring groups or convince a hesitant inmate to cooperate in smuggling operations. The invisible economy of food is a language of power, understood by those who live within the walls but invisible to those on the outside. The human element is stark. Inmates experience psychological strain as they navigate hunger, hierarchy, and the constant evaluation of risk. Meals are never just sustenance, they are signals of social standing. According to interviews with former inmates at Rikers and Cook County, anxiety over food distribution influenced behavior throughout the day. Compliance, alignment with factions, and strategic observation became essential survival skills. Hunger, in this context, is both physiological and psychological, shaping decisions, alliances, and even self-perception. Federal investigations into kitchen operations confirm that guards often remain aware of the underlying economy but have limited capacity to intervene effectively. Overcrowding, understaffing, and the subtlety of inmate networks create blind spots. In some instances, officers unwittingly reinforced hierarchies by assigning trusted inmates to oversee meal distribution or by failing to rotate personnel. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, 2020, these conditions created a feedback loop. those who controlled food gained authority, influence, and access to contraband, further entrenching the hidden economy. Despite these challenges, some facilities attempted reform. Measures included electronic inventory tracking, CCTV monitoring, and limiting the number of inmates with kitchen access at any given time. Reports from Pelican Bay and Rikers Island audits indicate partial success. While overt theft decreased, the subtle manipulation of meals and rations continued. Inmates adapted quickly, finding loopholes and establishing new networks, demonstrating the resilience and ingenuity of these underground economies. Internationally, similar adaptations occur. In Mexico, gang-run kitchens implemented rotating shifts and coded delivery systems to maintain secrecy. In Brazil, communal feasts were reorganized when inspectors attempted oversight, disguising the true hierarchy of rationed meals. In South Africa, Stokvels developed internal ledgers and informal enforcement protocols that minimized detection by prison staff. Across all these examples, one principle is consistent: control of food equates to control of behavior. The stakes of hunger-driven enforcement are evident in extreme cases. Reports from the Marshall Project, 2021, describe incidents where entire cell blocks were locked down due to disputes over ration allocation, and federal filings from Cook County Jail document cases in which kitchen workers manipulated meals to neutralize rival factions. Even small deviations, a tray delivered late, a portion reduced, can ripple across blocks, affecting alliances, authority, and survival. The dynamics are complex, fluid, and deeply consequential. Ultimately, the hidden economy of food within prisons is a microcosm of human society under extreme constraint. Leadership, negotiation, compliance, and rebellion manifest in a context where basic sustenance carries strategic weight. Hunger is weaponized, loyalty is earned through meals, and survival depends on understanding the nuanced rules of distribution. Inmates navigate a system that is simultaneously social, economic, and psychological, where a packet of noodles may signify a favor, a threat, or a token of allegiance. As this documentary concludes, the evidence is clear: prisons are more than physical spaces. They are intricate ecosystems where the simplest human needs, hunger, nutrition, and the desire to be fed, intersect with power, influence, and survival. Kitchens and commissaries, often overlooked, are the epicenters of these dynamics. Control the food, and you control behavior. Deny a meal strategically, and you enforce obedience. Understanding this hidden world offers a lens into both the resilience and vulnerability of human social structures under confinement. Food, in the end, is far more than nourishment. It is a measure of power, a vehicle of influence, and a determinant of survival. And in the world of maximum security prisons, from Los Angeles to New York, Mexico to South Africa, it is the invisible currency that governs the lives of those inside. Disclaimer: this story is a dramatized adaptation inspired by real events. Some names, places, and details have been changed for privacy. The story sources: The Marshall Project, 2021, BBC Africa, 2019, Human Rights Watch, 2022, Federal Bureau of Prisons Reports, 2020, Amnesty International Latin America, 2021, Chicago Tribune, 2018.